If you live in New York City, stay with me to the end. I will tell you how to end the trucker strike. When the governor of New York tells you this will only happen to Trump, no matter what you think of Donald J. Trump, if this abomination stands, it can happen to anyone else. Why? Because it is written in the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Let us begin with the first statement. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Mr. Trump is a resident of Florida. The New York court entered into their record property outside of the state of New York as evidence of alleged misconduct. I am not a lawyer, but I think attaching property beyond your state lines is a bad precedent. California is trying to use an exit tax. This will allow California to sue you in California. If you fail to appear for that hearing and a default judgment is awarded to California, they can put a lien on your property where you live now. It will remain until the debt is satisfied. If this New York case is upheld, the equal protection under the law clause means that as long as it can be done in a qualifying jurisdiction, it can apply nationwide. Bad law is not prevented from being enforced by equal protection as long as the law is applied evenly. A single arbitrator in this New York case is judge, jury, and executioner. Not only did one person assess a fine, he deprived the defendant of doing business in New York State and is revoking business licenses. To add insult to injury, monitors are to be inserted into Mr. Trump and his family's businesses. Typically, these salaries are passed on to the observed parties as court costs. This is restraining these people at their liberty. Again, equal protection under the law allows this to happen to any business once instituted. You can be up to date and fully compliant on your business licenses and still lose them on the whim of a single judge. Investors are rethinking doing business in New York. They see the risk of this process being used as a revenue stream in a state drowning in red ink. Existing businesses that may have been considering leaving the state could be pushed into exiting to save themselves. At the very core of this problem is that two people, Letitia James and Arthur Engoron, colluded to deprive someone of their due process rights. Engoron is reported as having made statements about finding the defendant guilty and the possible penalties to be applied weeks before the conclusion of the trial. The penalties are structured in such a way as to require a bond equal to the fine to be posted to file an appeal. $355 million is not likely to be found in piggy banks. It will take some time to convert assets into cash. Also, interest on the fine causes it to grow larger every day until it is paid. Think of getting a traffic fine that increases $1 a day until paid in full. It takes you 90 days to pay a $50 fine. It ends up costing $140. As long as the practice is applied to everybody, the 14th Amendment requirement is met. If you have followed the ongoing gun control saga, you will see that if one state sees success, others will follow the practice quickly. This case will become the blueprint for a new revenue stream that cash-strapped legislatures can glom onto. The truckers see the threat to all of our ways of life. Even though they may not live in New York State, they are protecting themselves and their families from injustice. The best way to take out this nonsense is to confront the tyrants as soon as possible. Let Arthur Engeron and Letitia James hear of your displeasure. Both are elected to their offices. There are recall processes to unseat them. Use the Maxine Waters approach. Get in their face. Make them uncomfortable. Let them know of your displeasure. Maybe you should picket these locations I'm about to give you. Judge Engeron can be found at the New York County Courthouse on Center Street. Make note of the information below. Letitia James has an office in Brooklyn. And one in Harlem. You will have to look up your own state legislators, but here is Governor Hochul's information. You can also contact your representatives in Washington, D.C., your senator and representatives, to let them know of this displeasure and grief that it is causing you. Remember that you have a First Amendment right to peaceful assembly and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Millions of you get up and go to work to provide for yourself and your families. You have put up with many failures of government. This is one of the problems you can fix, because Letitia James and Arthur Engeron have the power to undo what they have done. Peace be with you.